Curta Trades here, and today we have full screen split screen, and this is a kiosk I made. There's 4 monitors, one on each side for each different player. So it splits the game in 4 like a normal split screen game does, but it sends each corner of the screen to a separate monitor, so no more screen peeking. The really awesome part about this is this works with any video game console that you can convert to HDMI. So this can work with modern gaming systems. You can use Mario Kart 8 on here with a switch. You can also use older systems with an HDMI converter. That's all you're going to need for this. I'm going to show you all the tools, all the items. Almost everything you need to make this will be on Amazon. There's a few things that you can't, and your local hardware store will have most of those. But if you're looking to purchase any of the items in here, they're all in the description below. The biggest thing by far is the video wall controller, which will allow you to split the screen out to 4 different TVs. The good thing too is that it will work with 2-player games. If you want to have 2 people play, just being able to see their own screen and other players watching the match unfold, they can watch the other screens too. And then the other really awesome part about this video wall controller is with a remote, you can use it to switch it back to normal full screen. So it will display the entire screen on every monitor. That way for player select screens, track select screens, for example, you can switch it back. That way you're not having to look around other people's screens. So it's really awesome features in this. The hardest part about this is actually finding 4 people in real life to play with. Ugh. But first, let me know what the best split screen games are. I know most of them. I love Mario Kart, obviously. GoldenEye's great. Turok Rage Wars. Vigilante 8 is a really awesome one. Let me know what your favorite split screen game is in the comments below. This video wall controller does not have any lag. Also, the other thing that you will need for a Nintendo 64 is an HDMI converter. So it basically takes the composite cable for a Nintendo 64, a GameCube for example, and it puts out as an HDMI connection. So you send out the HDMI connection into your video wall controller. It's got 4 separate outputs. You send one of these outputs to each of the different TVs, and that's basically the way you can do it. Now the simple way that I have it set up here is just going to 4 different TVs. The TVs don't even need to be the same size. The bigger one, it does stretch a little bit, so if they're a little bit close, you can kind of see how this one has the whole 1/4 here. This one's a little bit cut off. This screen is slightly larger. There are a few adjustments you can do with the video wall controller. You can change the bezel size, for example, to be smaller or bigger to get it a little bit better picture. Some of these TVs that you have, you cannot change the resolution. So these are set up to 16:9 like a normal widescreen TV. And it's not the best picture, again, because it stretches for the Nintendo 64. The reason I did go with these is because you can use a modern system like a GameCube and like a Switch and use Mario Kart, for example, and not have it be on a really tiny CRT or the smaller aspect ratio. So I did want the option to be able to do this. Now, the reason why you need to use these ones is because some of these video wall controllers do have lag. I know for a fact that this one and this HDMI converter do not have input lag. So when I push Z to go, it instantly starts going. The turning is on point. I don't have to worry about lag messing up my inputs and being able to not play it. So this setup does work with this. So the other really nice thing about this specific video wall controller is that it comes with a remote, and you can switch it back to being full screen on every screen. So we'll just send the picture through to each TV the same. And the reason why you want one that has this is because for the menu screens, you're gonna be able to want to go back to this situation. So you can change settings, select characters. That way you don't have to have a 5th separate TV and have another splitter in here to get a TV that just has the normal output. So this one has the option to go from full screen like this, just pushing the input through, to being able to switch to 2x2, setting it up with 1 in each. So other than the video wall controller and the HDMI output connector, you're going to need 4 HDMI cables, obviously, to go to each TV. You're also going to need TVs. The cheapest way I found to do this is Insignia is a Best Buy brand. They sell these 19-inch TVs for, I think they're typically $60. A lot of the times they'll go on sale for 50 bucks. I actually got one of these without a remote for like 35. It was considered out of the box one, so you can really save a lot of money. if you have to spend $100 on a monitor, you're already looking at $400 plus, $500 with the controller, and then all the other little additions you have to make. So you can save a ton of money by going with these. Refurbished ones are good too, because again, you're not going to use them a whole lot, and they just need to be a simple monitor. And having speakers is nice too, because then each screen can put out the speakers and have the game audio playing as well. Okay, so these next things I'm going to use here, these are called extruded aluminum, and this is 20 millimeters extruded aluminum. It's about 3/4 inch. And once I have my frame, I'm going to use these colorful corrugated plastic sheets. These panels I picked up at Menards, my local hardware store. I couldn't find color ones online for any reasonable price. These were about $10 a piece. Alright, so I cut my platform here 23.5, and I took about 2.5 inches off each corner, and we'll see if it fits here. Nice, fits perfectly on there, doesn't go over the edges. I have some M4 bolts here by 20 millimeter, that's the thread length. And so if you get these bolts here, you can use these to attach to the back. So I'm going to have to put a little 2x4 structure with some smaller boards, about 1/2 inch boards is what I think I'm going to need here. And then I'll drill some holes through it that are the same size as the pattern here, and we'll attach it to that. And that way I can have it all the way up as close to the coroplast as I need to. Nice thing about Velcro too is it doesn't have to be exactly where you want it. It can go up or down or left and right a little bit. I'm going to use these 3M adhesive pads to attach the coroplast together, and it'll also let it, since these aren't exactly flat, it'll have them pop out just slightly from it, almost look like they're floating, which will be kind of cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a nut on here. That way I can tighten it down to the board, so if I have to have a longer bolt, the nut will hold this tight on the wood panel. That way it's not like bending down or up or anything like that. All right, let's take this down on the ground so we can look at the wires. Ugh, oh my gosh, this thing. All right, we're gonna take the 64 out of here just to get the main TVs and the monitors set up, and then we'll bring it back in. This is a jumble of wires, so there's a lot going on. I would suggest if you're making this, make this box as big as you can. I wish I would have made it a little bit bigger. It would have given me a lot more room down here. Alright, let's give it a test. And actually, the cool thing is, these Insignia TVs, the remote works for all 4 of them. So you don't need 4 different remotes for each different TV. This is hilarious. Change the input on this one. Change the input on this one too. So if you want to change the volume, you just do volume up. Volume up. It works on all of them at the same time. It's kind of cool. I'm going to need to put some holes in the top here so that the heat dissipates out the top too. And then once it starts, you can change it to 2v2 mode. So it'll get you on there. Player 1 full screen, player 2 full screen, and then the other 2 show both players, so that way you can kind of see if other people are watching the race, they can watch both players at the same time if they want to.